Hey guys, I'm Brett Krager. I'm the managing broker here in Oklahoma City, and today I wanted to talk with you about the for sale by owner appointment. Understanding what we're trying to accomplish in the appointment, what we need to do, what we need to say, what questions we need to ask, and how we need to close the appointment. Understand when we're doing it, we need to build rapport with this person. The important thing is that when we are finished with the appointment, they remember that they like us and they have a face with a name, and then we can follow up appropriately and have success. So whenever I start the appointment, I walk in, I say thank you for your time, show us around the house, and tell me about any updates or repairs you've made. Very simple. At this point, I'm basically telling that owner, sell me the house. Then he gives us a tour, we walk around the house, and this is the part, I separate this into two parts. The first is we need to build rapport, and then at the end, we need to find motivation and ask 3 questions. So in the first part, we're getting the tour and we're building rapport, asking questions. Asking about this or that, trying to find commonality, trying to provide knowledge. And so anytime I'm walking around, if I see something, maybe he has a picture on the wall of a football team that I like, I talk about the football team. Maybe he has a picture of him in Hawaii, and maybe I've been to Hawaii recently. So we're walking around, we're finding commonality, and we're trying to connect with this person on a professional level, but also personally, we have to be able to like each other. And then we will try to provide knowledge as best we can. Maybe they're doing an open house and I tell him he should put open house signs on the main street in front of his neighborhood and providing knowledge. Maybe he needs to put a sign in the front yard. Maybe he needs to advertise it on Zillow.com or forsalebywonder.com. Provide knowledge, provide value, build rapport. The more you try to help this person sell their house, the more likely they're going to list with you when they get to that point that 85% of for sale by owners get to, and they want to list their house. No matter how much you try to help them, they're probably not going to sell their house. So provide value. Do whatever you can to build rapport with this person. So very important, you have to find commonality and provide knowledge. Basically what this breaks down to is they have to not think you're an idiot and they have to not hate you. When it comes down to it, those are the two things. Because if they love you and they think you're an idiot, they're not going to use you. If they hate you but they think you're really, really smart, they're not going to use you. So they can't hate you and they can't think you're an idiot. And you can do this by asking the right questions, talking, finding commonality. When we're done with the tour, we're going to move into the motivation section and the 3 questions section. So when we're done with the tour, typically we finish in a common area, the kitchen, the living room, and we'll finish whatever conversation we're having. And then I try to transition the conversation from the house to them personally and what's going on in their current life. And the way I do that is I ask one simple question. If I sold the house tomorrow, could you be out in 30 days? If I sold the house tomorrow, could you be out in 30 days? And what I'm doing is I'm basically saying, what's going on in your life? Explain to me what's going on and what your timeline is. Maybe they're building a house and the house isn't ready for 6 months, so they can't be out. Or maybe they're getting a divorce and they need to be out yesterday. Or maybe school starts and they need to be in a different district by next week, or whatever it might be. They're going to tell you their situation and what their motivation is. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find their motivation. And once I know their motivation, I can help influence their situation. I met a for sale by owner one time whose family moved out of state. His wife and his daughters moved out of state, and he was living in an air mattress here in Oklahoma until he sold his house. He had a mini fridge and an air mattress, and he was showing the house. And you talk about a guy with some motivation. He wanted out bad. He just didn't realize. He thought he was trying to save the money. I showed him how we could help and what we could do. We were able to get it sold. So I'm trying to find the motivation, and I do that by saying, if I sell your house tomorrow, can you be out in 30 days? After we discuss that, I find what their motivation is. I find where their pain points are and their pressure points, and I can influence that situation. Then we want to move to the 3 questions. And I want to ask every for sale by owner these same 3 questions. How much traffic have you got? What kind of feedback have you received? And have you received any offers? And what I'm trying to do is, in their head, I can't tell you you don't know what you're doing. I can't say, Mr. Seller, you have no idea what you're doing. I'm going to help you make more money and save you money in the long run. I can't say that because it turns into a fight, right? No, you're not. No, I can't. But what I do is I ask the right questions and I lead them to believe that they don't know what they're doing. And what I'm trying to do with these questions is get him or her in their head to say, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know. And I want them to throw their hands in the air and ask for my help. That's what I'm trying to do. And I do that by leading them there by asking the right questions. So, how much traffic have you received? If they say no traffic, I say, why don't you think you've gotten any traffic? I don't know. Or maybe they say we've had great traffic, and I say, oh good, what kind of feedback have you received? If they say no one's given us any feedback, I'll say, why don't you think so? I don't know, right? Or maybe they say everyone says they love it. Everyone gives us great feedback. Then I move to the last one. Have you received any offers? Most likely, since I'm standing in their living room, they have not. So everyone's gonna say they love it. And I say, have they received any offers? No, we haven't. Have they mentioned why they love it, but they haven't written any offers? No, I don't know. So if I ask the right questions in that order, eventually I'm gonna get them to say out loud, I don't know. And that's when you can start to leverage that and influence the situation. So very important to ask the right questions in the right frequency, or in the right order, to get them to say in their head or out loud, I don't know what I'm doing. So how much traffic have you received? What kind of feedback have you received? And have you received any offers? Now, when we're done with that, as we're leaving, we want to ask for permission to follow up. Very important. Whenever you're leaving, you say, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Seller. I'm going to give you a call in a week or so to make sure the home is still available. And then what you're doing is you're giving yourself something to do. You're giving yourself a task to complete. And then when you complete that task, you've done what you said you're going to do. And now you've created a warm follow-up instead of a cold follow-up, where when you call them, they're not going to say, who is this? I don't remember that. You're asking for their permission and they're expecting it now and the next week. Makes it for a much easier follow-up, a warm follow-up going forward. So next video, we're going to talk about how to follow up properly, what questions we ask and what we say, and how to actually close and ask for the business. One thing that we didn't talk about here that's important is we don't ask for the business on the first follow-up. We don't ask for the business on the first meeting. Unless that seller gives us some daylight where they say, I'm getting so frustrated, or this is a very annoying process, or I'm thinking about listing. If they give me some daylight, then I'll go in and pitch the listing. I'll tell them what we can do. Otherwise, we don't want to pitch the listing. Every other real estate agent that comes into their home is going to hit them over the head with, here's what I can do for you. And when you don't do that, and all you do is build rapport, find commonality, provide knowledge, and plant a seed of doubt in their head, and then you leave, you set yourself apart significantly. And then you set yourself up to close them on that follow-up call. Now, if they give you some daylight, you need to close them there. Otherwise, another realtor might close them in the meantime. So unless they give us some daylight, we're just going to set themselves up for that follow-up call where we're actually going to pitch ourselves and try to close that loan, close that transaction and try to get that listing. So stay tuned next time, and we're going to talk about how to follow up with the for sale by owner.